On this beautiful Monday, albeit just not as pretty as it could have been Monday, thanks to the Browns. I'm Betsy Kling alongside Jay Crawford, and yeah, that's how we're going to start things off.
The tone in Jimmy's voice just says it all. And for the first time in the Kevin Stefanski era, the Browns now have lost back-to-back games. Jimmy's going to join us in just a little bit. He's going to tell us whether or not we should panic or whether we should stay calm. I think somewhere in between lies the truth. But first, we'll begin at 5 with the latest out of Haiti on the kidnapping of 17 members of an Ohio-based missionary group. 12 adults and 5 kids were abducted Saturday while visiting an orphanage east of Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince.
And Mark Namick is here to tell us what we know about the group so far, the conditions for aid workers in the Caribbean nation. There's a lot going on with this.
I mean, the poverty down there is devastating. So this group, Christian Aid Ministries, which is based in Holmes County, has worked in Haiti for years. It distributes food and clothing, and it tries to spread its conservative teachings. The group pulled its American workers out of Haiti last year over safety concerns, but returned recently despite warnings from the U.S. State Department to not travel there. Tracy Herstich, an assistant professor of nursing at Walsh University, has been there 10 times on aid and education trips, but she stopped going there 2 years ago because of civil unrest. She described to me what she remembers about the conditions there.
What I have noticed, and in my Haitian colleagues that I still have communication with, is that the poverty is so dire. And just the infrastructure is so broken down that people are resorting to things like kidnapping. I think that most people who are traveling to Haiti want to go because, one, they want to help the people that they know there, and they believe, like myself, that it is a violation in human dignity to see a mass amount of people living in poverty. However, you have to balance that with what is going on down there.
It's believed a notorious gang is behind the kidnapping, but no one has publicly claimed responsibility. We also talked to 2 Ohio members of Congress today. They said they're watching and praying, but are not involved in plans to free the missionaries.
This is a real rock and a hard place because we can see the economic squalor. There is absolutely a lot of things that the area needs. But at the same time, you mentioned this kidnapping. This is a revenue source for some of these rebel gangs. The gang believed to be behind this kidnapping was also behind one in April. 5 priests, 2 nuns were taken in. They demanded $1 million in ransom. No word as to whether or not that ransom was paid, but the 7 individuals were released. You really don't know what to do. You don't want to pay the ransom because that only encourages more behavior.
The Human Rights Watchers believe that this gang you're talking about is responsible for about 80% of the 400 kidnappings that have taken place in the last year, and that's up from 80 in the previous year. And you got to remember, just months ago, the president there was assassinated. You know, there is a very fledgling democracy that the United States is backing right now. But aid workers have been there for many, many years because of the abject poverty that is going on down there. A lot more to come on this story. We'll be watching it.
Certainly a country in turmoil. All right. Thanks so much, Mark.
Thanks.
Now on your feed at 5, we are remembering Trailblazer Colin Powell. The former Secretary of State and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff died this morning from COVID complications. He was also battling a blood cancer, which put him at higher risk for the virus. Today, current and former leaders remembered his legacy.
He gave the State Department the very best of his leadership, his experience, his patriotism. He gave us his decency.
He was the North Star for so many of us senior military.
Well, here in Cleveland, former and current congressional members are sharing their memories of Colin Powell and the legacy he leaves behind. Brandon Simmons joins us now with their reaction and what they remember most. Brandon?
Hi, Betsy. Yeah, the thing that's so special about Colin Powell is no matter who you speak with, Democrats and Republicans, the message is pretty much the same. Powell being remembered as a man of integrity and also a man of intellect. Now, his last public appearance here in Cleveland was back in 2014 when he spoke at a Cleveland Foundation event where he talked about communities coming together, Americans coming together. And that's how many current and former congressional members remembered him, calling him a unifier. Now, while Powell himself was a Republican, he worked closely with Democrats to do what was right for his country, serving as the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and as Secretary of State, the first black man to ever do so. Although he often downplayed being a trailblazer, it's a title that many say he deserved.
He's a very measured man who was a great role model for the younger people of our country. He served our country with dignity in very difficult times.
Colin Powell, throughout his career, tried to find ways of bringing people together, no matter what their politics were. And I think that will certainly be an important part of his legacy.
Now, again, we heard from many people who were from a different political party who have disagreed with many of Powell's decisions over the years, but still there's a mutual respect for Colin Powell's work as a public servant. Now, one person told me that it was his ability to respect others' viewpoints and find common ground that made him special, and that's something that's missing from politics today. Colin Powell, of course, was 84 years old when he died.
Well, Brandon, we mentioned that Powell was battling a blood cancer. We've also learned Powell was fully vaccinated, yet still died from complications of COVID. That definitely raised some eyebrows today. Now, is this something that should cause alarm in people?
Yeah, I spoke to one of our local health experts. They say the simple answer is you should not be worried if you're healthy, even if you're elderly and you're fully vaccinated. We have to remember that he had this rare blood cancer and this weakened his immune system. And actually, this is the sort of case where it kind of tells us where all of us need to participate, get vaccinated so that we can protect these more vulnerable populations like which Powell would have fell in.
Certainly. Thanks so much for the insight, Brandon.
Back to pass. Deep drop. Up in the pocket. Got to get out of there. Got out of there once and twice. He's going to heave it down the field towards the goal line. Peoples-Jones goes up and he caught it! He caught it! Touchdown! Donovan Peoples-Jones! Back to pass. Steps up in the pocket. Throws. End zone wide open. DeAndre Hopkins touchdown. And when I say wide open, folks, I'm telling you, there wasn't a brown jersey near him.
And there you have it. That really, in about a 30-second nutshell, was the roller coaster ride that was yesterday. You had that crazy Hail Mary, and then what in the world? These wide open receivers continue to catch easy touchdowns. So you've got injuries, turnovers, the wide open receivers. Some more crazy penalties, too. You add it all up, and it's a 37-14 loss at First Energy. And really, Jimmy, this is the worst that the Browns have looked all season long. This is a bad loss. And the optimism and the hope seem to be slipping a little bit, and the injuries keep mounting.
Yeah, they do. And, of course, that's football, and that's a cliche. This is the first bit of choppy water in the Kevin Stefanski reign as the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. It has been smooth sailing so far, but he is going to be pressed right now to get this team ready by Thursday night, no less. They have a short week as they host the Denver Broncos. Let's deal with the injuries. They're not good. Kareem Hunt went down late in the game on a fourth down play down by the goal line, which they did not convert. He left the game with now being described as a significant calf injury. Likely headed to injured reserve, and a lot of people are saying likely out 4 to 6 weeks. And remember, Nick Chubb's been out and didn't play yesterday, and it's not really a given that he's going to play on Thursday night. Now to the quarterback, Baker Mayfield. This is Mayfield coming to the podium after the game last night. Left arm in a sling. He had 3 total turnovers in the game. He was sacked 5 times, but that left shoulder had popped out again in the game yesterday as he scrambles around and he gets drilled right there, and he went down. Jordan Hicks got him, J.J. Watt got him, and he just struggled and is in a great deal of pain. Now the question is, do you play him on Thursday night?
Yeah, I think with any injury, I'm not the expert. I'm not the medical expert. So I will listen to the medical team here. And we listen to the player. With every single player here, it's you treat them and you have a dialogue with them. You talk to the doctors, and we'll make, make good decisions and smart decisions with all of these guys.
And another significant injury, too. The outstanding rookie linebacker, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, has the dreaded high ankle sprain, easily 4 to 6 weeks or even longer. And sometimes that takes the bulk of the season. And he had been playing very well. But then the other big thing, Jay, and we were talking about it, it's the lack of defense and the money they poured into that defense. Let me give you 2 numbers. In the last 2 weeks, they've given up 84 points and over 800 yards of offense against them.
Now, these are prolific offenses.
Yeah.
So they're good offenses that are putting up these kind of numbers. But, Jimmy, You and I were having a conversation off camera a while ago. You've got 2 weeks in a row where premier wide receivers are running wide open, uncontested. What's going on? How is that happening?
There's a philosophy that the Browns use where, first of all, they play a lot of what they call soft zone. Okay, soft zone, that's the key. So really what they're doing right at the start of the play, on the snap, the Browns cornerbacks are off of those wide receivers. Now you get a 5-yard cushion there where you can make contact and really hit a receiver and kind of throw him off his pace.
And throw off the timing too.
Totally, throw off the timing of the play. They are not doing that. They choose to cover off the break and then rely on the safeties in the back. And of course, that's another issue. The safeties are not playing well. They don't seem to know what their roles are. But at the start of the play, Jay, they're giving what they call a free release to these receivers. And guys like DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Williams from a week before, Keenan Allen, A.J. Green, that is like candy in front of them.
Well, they're premier guys.
Yeah.
And that's also why you're seeing so many big third down pickups.
Yeah.
The defense sees that the corners are playing back. That's like stealing in the NFL today. Do you imagine, Jimmy, that this late in the game, you're 6 weeks into the season, is that something that they can change midstream, or are we going to see this soft zone the whole way?
I think they can't change it by Thursday night, no doubt about that. But now because you play on Thursday night, you get what they call in the NFL a mini bye, okay?
Sure.
Maybe they can do something there. The problem the Browns have about making significant changes, Jay, is that their bye week, their regular bye week, is so late in the season. It's way down the road. It's a long way away. So in regards to getting guys healthy or making a change in your strategy or your system defensively, that's going to be difficult to do. The other reason for concern right now, yes, 2 losses in a row, but the division is starting to take up a distance from them. Baltimore's 5-1, Cincinnati's 4-2. The Steelers got a win last night.
Tied for last.
We're tied for last.
Life comes at you fast.
I never thought we'd be saying that.
No, I didn't, and you can feel the optimism sort of slipping away. Thursday's huge. No other way to say
really
it. They've got to win that one. Jimmy, thanks. We'll see you with more on the Browns coming up at 6, and also in the next half hour, Mike Polk Jr., hopefully some of his humor can lessen some of the sting of yesterday's awful loss. Betsy?
Well, still ahead for us here on What's New, Monica Robbins is along with an update on her personal health battle. She'll take us through the next step in her courageous journey.
Plus, Kourtney Kardashian believes she's found her new soulmate. Kiara Cotton has all the details. It's next in Pop Break.
And I am sprinting across the studio right now because I forgot my clicker and I have to make this graphic move. There you go. Temperatures are going to be chilly tonight if you're headed out. Make sure you have a jacket. Still going to be a little breezy till the sun sets. Temperatures in the 50s. Whew. I'll be back with the forecast. Hello. Our good friend Monica Robbins opened up to all of us a while back about her brain tumor and the journey through a pretty intensive surgery. That journey is not over for her.
Monica Robbins joins us now. Monica, we had a lengthy conversation about this on Friday. It's not an easy conversation to have, obviously, but you've kept the viewer informed of your fight every step of the way, and you feel that it's important that we continue to do that, particularly with this particular next step, because it's kind of revolutionary and it could also help many others.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought I was going to be a medical pioneer.
Yeah, but here you are.
Lucky me, and it's all because we live here in Northeast Ohio.
Right.
So, long story short, my tumor has spread. When they took the most of it out, they left behind some residual tumor. So on my optic nerve, on my carotid artery, and behind my left eye, and in my eye socket, my left eye socket. And that is the problem child. So that thing decided it was going to grow, and it grew into my bone, and now it's moving into my cavernous sinus. And yeah, that's above my nose. And who knew your carotid artery is in your cavernous sinus as well. So this could be really dangerous if we don't do anything about it. So they're trying to, they're going to go in, and the revolutionary part is I'm going to have surgery minimally invasive. They're going to go through my eyelid crease, and they're going to do brain surgery through my eye. Like they'll push my eye down, and they'll drill out what they need to do. And then if they need to replace bone, which they likely will, they're going to take it from my right rib, and they're going to rebuild my face with my rib. Who knew?
Wow. So when you sit and talk to Monica, first of all, she tells you, oh yeah, my brain tumor's grown and I have to have more surgery. And you're like, okay, because when you told me, you know, I was pretty early in the process, at least of notifying people here. And I'm sure you watch my face go through like 9 different versions of like fear and pain and anger. And
you didn't cry this time, though.
This time I didn't
You did not cry. I was so happy she didn't cry.
Partly because she's so strong.
Well, because immediately she's like, all right, so I have this brain tumor. But wait till you hear what they're gonna do. And that's the thing, you are so incredibly brave on all of this. And I know you say, you told me numerous times, what you see on TV is not what I have going on, and that's the TV part. But truthfully, girlfriend, you are just incredible. And what, I'm gonna start to cry now, the strength and courage that you are showing helps so many. I know you said you'd hold my hand, and thank you, but it's so hard to watch you go through this, but it's so incredible to watch you go through this because you're attacking it, and that's what I'm so proud of you for.
I'm not mad at it yet, though.
I
need to get mad at it.
Well, you've given it a nickname, which we won't go into here on TV, which, by the way, just will crack you up when you hear it. Maybe that's for social media. Quickly, we only have 30 seconds. The outlook for this procedure is?
Well, it's a wait and see. We're going to have to see what they're going to be able to do. You know, it's minimally invasive, but there's a lot going on. They're going to have to, I'm guessing, take a significant amount of bone. But the trick to this, they really don't know what they're dealing with until they get in. And then after they figure out what they got to do and whether or not they have to rebuild a majority part of my face or whatever, then the next thing likely, but we don't know yet, is I'll probably need radiation in the spring. The good news is, yes, it is a benign tumor, but even benign tumors can be deadly, and that's my situation.
Because of its position. It's
because
so
of where it's located. Yeah, nothing in your brain that's not supposed to be there is good for you. So, you know, that's pretty much it. But because it's not cancerous, I can wait a little bit for radiation, so that's good.
You got an army behind you, kiddo.
Yeah, I cannot begin to express, there are not enough words to express how grateful I am for all the well wishes and everything. And I truly, truly believe 2 years ago when I went through this, because of everybody took a couple of seconds to think about me, that's why I'm standing here right now.
It helps.
I really, truly believe that. So for everyone who reached out to me, my heart is with you, and I can't thank you enough for thinking of me.
Can we still follow you through this? Are you still going to be reporting on this?
Of course, yeah. The boss has told me I'm good. No, I'm kidding.
I don't want to get all these questions. I'm at the grocery store.
No.
How's Monica?
I tell you, do this though. Next time we have that long conversation on the phone, make sure I'm not on my pain medication.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I was like,
I was a little loopy.
What?
I was a little loopy then.
well,
so.
okay, Mon. Okay, honey. Yeah.
We're with you. We're with you.
Well,
Thank you, guys.
I love you.
Love you too.
All right, I have to do weather. You have to do weather. Roll it. Here we go. I mean, you can do everything. Why don't you do weather one of these days? Ready?
Listen, she'd rock it. I'll tell you that.
That's the good part. All right, here's the next few hours. Temperatures are going to be dropping back into the 40s. We have clear skies. That will continue. Perfect campfire weather. I know a lot of folks were out and about yesterday. Jay, you'd have been proud. We pulled the TV outside, had a campfire going. We're watching the Browns game outside. It's pretty sweet. Temperatures are going to continue to fall tonight. We are still in the 50s and 60s around Northeast Ohio, but the really big change here is just how dry the air is. You may have even gotten some static shocks and whatnot. We have dew points right now that are in the 30s, and our dew points are going to stay low. Very comfortable weather coming in. Now, keep in mind, it's all relative, so when you start to see those dew points getting into the 50s, yes, it's not overly humid, but our overall temperatures are down too. That's a sign that we'll have some kind of a rain coming through. And that is this storm system that's sitting out here in the Intermountain West. This is going to drill its way across the United States. And as it gets into our neck of the woods, it will eventually bring us a chance for some rain showers. But for right now, we are still sitting with these clear skies for several states away. Let's get in closer here to Northeast Ohio's forecast. Under these clear skies tonight, the temperatures, as I mentioned, will be dropping back. We are likely to start the day tomorrow in the mid-40s. So you may want to add a blanket before you head to bed, especially if you're one of the folks that keep the windows open. It is kind of nice to get that fresh air in there. By the afternoon tomorrow, we're going to call it autumn glory. Starting to see a little tinge in the trees now as temperatures tomorrow afternoon will make it back to about 70. Here's your National Design Mart on the hour forecast. Don't worry too much about the clouds. I think they'll be few and far between, but the temperatures, as I mentioned, will be right up around the 70-degree mark. Here's your Union Home Mortgage outlook. We'll stay in the low 70s Wednesday. We have scattered showers that come through late day Thursday, Browns game included, and then temperatures staying in the 50s as we head through the weekend. But right now, it's looking like it'll be dry. We'll be right back.
Hey, we are talking Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker.
We're talking about them for now. Yes, indeed. You know what that music means. That's Kiara's theme song. And it's time for our Pop Break Monday. Hi, Keith.
Hi.
Okay, what is this about the Kardashians? One of them is off the market?
That's right. Kourtney Kardashian has found her forever and Blink-182 drummer Travis Barker. The couple got engaged over the weekend at a beachside hotel in California. Barker popped the question after going public with their relationship back in January. Kourtney shared pictures from the moment on social media with the caption, "Forever." And from the looks of things, her forever cost a pretty penny. Kourtney's her sister Kim shared a slow-mo video of the couple kissing with a close-up of the ring, and she captioned that video, "Kravis Forever." Congratulations to these two lovebirds. And after being delayed not once, but twice due to COVID, the latest installment of the Batman franchise is preparing to hit theaters. Over the weekend, Warner Brothers and DC Comics released the first trailer for The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson. The Caped Crusader is seen in familiar dark and gritty Gotham while previewing the return of several of the superhero's most infamous enemies. The Batman is set to hit theaters March 4th, 2022. Michael Keaton, Christian Bale, and Ben Affleck have all donned the Batman suit. But the question now, Jay and Betsy, is whether or not Robert Pattinson will rise to the challenge.
I bet he does. I mean, they've done their homework. I'm fascinated by the name, The Batman.
Yeah.
That's a bit odd to me, but I mean, I'm sure there's a reason for it.
I guess this one is more introspective, like going into his life underneath the mask. So we'll kind of see who he is in comparison to, the character.
There'll still be cool gizmos and magical television and movie drama, so.
And I mean, CGI and everything has come such a long way. So
yeah, it has. Yeah.
We'll see that for sure.
All right. Thanks, Keith.
Sure thing.
Thank you. Coming up in the second half hour of What's New, we know yesterday's Browns game was tough to watch, but what were the takeaways for our Mike Polk Jr.? We'll find out ahead.
I always love to get his take. And who doesn't need information that can help them save real money ahead of the holidays? We have details coming up on Walmart's Black Money deals when What's New comes right back.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
And let's get you caught up now on three things you need to know here at 5:30. First, U.S. officials are working with Haitian officials to free 17 members of an Ohio-based missionary group who were kidnapped there Saturday. It's believed that a notorious gang took 12 adults and 5 kids, this while they were visiting an orphanage east of Haiti's capital. Christian Aid Ministries, which is based in Holmes County, has worked in Haiti for years. It distributes food and clothes and also spreads conservative Christian teachings. The group pulled American workers out last year over safety concerns, but recently returned despite the U.S. State Department's warning not to travel there.
Former Secretary of State Colin Powell passed away this morning. According to his family, he died from complications of COVID-19 while he was battling a blood cancer. The 4-star general was fully vaccinated. However, as we mentioned, that blood cancer can hurt the ability of the body to fight infections. So he was at a higher risk for the COVID-19. Powell was the first black Secretary of State and chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He oversaw the U.S. invasion of Panama and later the invasion of Kuwait to oust the Iraqi army in 1991.
Like it or not, winter is right around the corner. The Ohio Department of Transportation is gearing up for the season, but just like every other industry, they are really struggling to find enough snowplow drivers. They still need about 500 plow drivers, this across the Buckeye State. Right now, there are 641 drivers in Northeast Ohio. We do have some good news, though. Salt not in short supply. ODOT has, get this, more than 662,000 tons of salt on hand.
I gotta say, there's a lot of people here in Northeast Ohio who think they can do a better job plowing the roads anyway. So guess what? Here's your chance.
Yeah, now they can go
Sign
have
up,
at it.
have a job.
It's not an easy
Take a
job.
risk.
So salt good. That's a good thing. Drivers needed. I mean, you can drive a truck now.
72-foot truck.
Just saying.
Yeah.
They need 500.
I think there's a little more skill involved than just going forward and backwards, but
maybe.
Who's counting?
With that, we welcome you back to the second half hour of What's New. Jay Crawford along with Betsy Kling. Hope you had an enjoyable weekend, but I will say that loss yesterday, it does make it tough to make it a perfect weekend when the Browns look like that.
It was really fun in the beginning. We were hooting and hollering in the backyard, sitting out by the fire. It was really fun to do that, but
And then it all went downhill, and that gets us to our top talker. It was ugly. No other way to say it. Our defense, by the way, after looking so dominant against the Vikings, has looked absolutely awful the last 2 weeks. Open receivers running free all over the place for long touchdown throws. And now they're 3-3. That's not a good place to be. Mike Polk Jr. recaps every game, win or lose, with his thoughts. And the hope here is his humor can take out some of the sting from this one.
Whew, well, that wasn't very much fun. A 3-3 record is not exactly where we had all hoped to be at this point in the season. I'm disappointed, and it's quite clear I'm not alone. But rather than pile on to the doom and gloom that I am very much feeling, I've decided to try to focus on something positive today instead. So let's talk about the upcoming schedule. Most would agree that the Browns have likely played the toughest matchups they're going to face this season, and all 3 of their losses were to very good teams. That's why I'm personally excited to get into this next stretch of games, in which we play 5 lesser teams that range in quality from not very good all the way down to Detroit Lions. With that in mind, here's a quick preview of the easier road that lies ahead for the Cleveland Browns. Week 7, Denver Broncos. Denver is 3-3, but those 3 wins were against the Jets, the Giants, and the Jaguars, which is kind of like winning a spelling bee in Pittsburgh. I mean, sure, you won, but is it really anything to celebrate? Additionally, Browns' secret weapon, Pat Shurmur, is Denver's offensive coordinator, which can only help. Browns win on Thursday, 42-34. Week 8, Pittsburgh. Hey, speaking of Pittsburgh, special thanks to the tired old bones of Ben Roethlisberger for deciding to play for another season despite the fact that his body retired 2 years ago. Ben is now so immobile that just watching him try to turn around feels like watching that swing bridge in the flats slowly rotate when you're late to get somewhere. Come on already! Browns win an ugly one, 17-15. Week 9, Cincinnati Bengals. There's only one team that the Browns will face over the next 5 games with a winning record, and it's the Bengals. And one of those wins is against Detroit, so. Unfortunately, Joe Burrow does appear to be the real deal. Fortunately, his offensive line is not at all. Myles Garrett and company will get to him early and often. The Browns win 24-18. Week 10, the New England Patriots. The Patriots suffered their 4th home loss in a row to Dallas yesterday, as everyone's favorite little ray of sunshine, Bill Belichick, continues his personal journey of learning what it's like to coach a team that does not feel feature Tom Brady. The Browns will take advantage of this brief lapse in Patriot greatness to win 34-28, causing Bill Belichick to completely lose control of his emotions, as seen here. And Week 11, Detroit Lions. This game represents the decadent dessert to be enjoyed at the end of the 5-course feast of bad teams that the Browns are about to dine on. And head chef Jared Goff has been outdoing himself in the kitchen lately. There are only 2 teams in NFL history to go 0-16 in the regular season. One is the Lions, and the other team escapes me for the moment. But based on how bad Detroit looks, they may just outdo themselves by being the first to go 0-17. I look forward to the Browns supplying one of those historic losses when they defeat the Lions 27-6, improving their overall record to a very respectable 8-3. And let's see who the Browns play after that. Oh, we have Baltimore twice in a row. You know what? Never mind. No point in looking too far ahead. Let's just enjoy being here. So there you have it, Browns fans. It's been a rocky start so far, but I do believe that brighter days await us all. Let us feast on the vulnerable and weak. Stay strong, Cleveland, and go Browns.
So just like that, we're 8-3.
See what I did there?
I feel better.
Look, everybody obviously is saying the same thing about what a terrible loss that was, and it was brutal. I'm just trying to find some sort of positive angle, and we are hitting, you'll admit, a softer spot in the schedule, right?
This is the part we're supposed to feast on.
Yes, and what do you think of my analysis? You think it's going to break down that way?
I think you're spot on, but here's the problem. There's 5 games in there, and they'll find a way to lose one of them.
Do you think that's true? Do you think they'll really do that? Would they spite me like that after I put myself out here on
I think we have some pretty significant injuries that have not yet been laid into the equation here.
Just getting more naysaying from these two horses over here.
We need the other guys to step up.
No, you're right. I just mostly what I hated about that loss more than anything was Nick Camino being right.
I know. He got it on Friday. He got it, and we were wrong.
Like that's where I was like, no, Camino.
Yeah. Well, can you play any position?
I could long snap like you wouldn't believe. Well, if anything comes up.
We might need you.
I might need to shift him. What's that guy's name? Charlie Hewitt?
Charlie, Hewitt. I think he's been here for like 72 years now. By the way, you look great in brown and orange, so you fit the part.
I appreciate that, guys. Yep. You still got me, guys, and everybody will be thanking me when we're 8-3.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Mike. I feel
Browns.
better.
Go Browns. A slight change of direction here. Taylor Swift is going to be shaking her way into the CLE. She will be inducting Carole King into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Today, the Rock Hall announced its initial performers and presenters. This is always a big list. Swift, alongside Jennifer Hudson, will also be performing. Angela Bassett will induct Tina Turner with performances by Christina Aguilera, Mickey Guyton, H.E.R. This is where I need Kiara because I don't know if it's H.E.R. or her, and Bryan Adams. I'm showing my age. Drew Barrymore will induct the Go-Go's. Excited about that one. Paul McCartney going to induct the Foo Fighters. And Lionel Richie will induct Clarence Avant for the Ahmet Ertegun Award. This is not the full list. More will be coming. The ceremony takes place October 30th
pretty good
here
list.
in Cleveland. That is always the coolest part of the Rock Hall induction ceremony. There are surprises, and they are usually pretty significant surprises, but you know who's, the inductee gets to choose who inducts them.
Yes.
And that is a huge honor, and there have been some really spectacular performances associated with that. I go right back to Bill Withers asking Stevie Wonder to induct him, and the two of them were side by side on the stage, and it was just like, oh.
Yeah, awesome. Taylor Swift, obviously that's going to have a lot of younger folks pretty excited that she's going to be here. I mean, let's face it, she's kind of big.
And she's not there to do her stuff, though.
No.
That's the thing.
No.
So this is the neat thing. They get to kind of lend their talents to kind of uphold some of the inductees.
Yeah, it's always fun, and it will be again this year for sure.
Will be. Well, ahead for us here on What's New, we go back to happier times. We have photos from yesterday's pregame tailgating before the Cardinals ran loose on the Browns defense.
Yeah, that was before those same folks made the horrible walk of shame.
It was a long day, yeah.
That's tough. Then this year's pre-holiday retail sales are going to be much different than years past. We have information that all consumers need to know about Walmart's plans for Black Monday. Very, very different this year.
Mic check. What's clicking in Cleveland today is a bunch of tailgating.
All right, thought I'd give everybody a little kind of where we're at right now, kind of a status update. I know Matt loves to do these, but I figured instead of the next 5 weeks, let's take a look at the next 5 months. Because we didn't get enough bad news from the Browns, let's take a look at this. Temperatures on this date, average high 63. Average high on November 18th is 50. Average high on December 18th is 40. Average high on January 18th is 35. That's the coolest average high temperature we have all year. And then we start to turn the corner by February, back to 39. It's not till April that we get back into the low 60s for the average highs. So we know that the slide is already happening, which means days like this, you absolutely have to embrace and take advantage. We have temperatures right now that are in the 50s and low 60s, but it is super comfortable out there. We have seen just a few fair weather clouds throughout the afternoon. Otherwise, lots of sunshine around Northeast Ohio. Scattered showers, lots of clouds out to the east of us, but they're not going to impact us. Matter of fact, to the west of us for several states, lots of clear skies continuing. Couple things to note though. This little swirl that's sitting in the Intermountain West, that will be responsible for rain coming our way on Thursday into Friday. A little bit of a cool down coming, and we still have much colder air that is locked off the northwestern coast of the United States. But keep in mind, this little swirl will unlock a batch of chilly air that is sitting right now in western Canada. So watch how this goes in your National Designer hour by hour forecast. Big scale here. By Tuesday, tomorrow at 6 p.m., that low is going to be sitting in the nation's midsection. Look how the cool air is advancing throughout central parts of Canada. But as we get into Wednesday, you can kind of see our little storm system really starts to wrap up. There is a cold front that drops into the Great Lakes region. That's going to pop up scattered showers around us in the region. But believe it or not, it's not going to be a massive invasion of that cold air. Well, at least not yet. By the time we get into Thursday then, now the scattered showers are here. That little low will go by. Then we'll start to see sweeping changes as far as the temperatures go as we head through the rest of the weekend. As far as you're on the hour for the day tomorrow, still 70, another beauty. Remember, next 5 months, take advantage while you can. And then here's your Union Home Mortgage outlook. Notice that the temperatures stay in the 70s, even upper 60s till Thursday. The little swirl gets here and look what happens. Temperatures in the upper 50s then to wrap up this week and head into the weekend. Jay?
All right, Bets, thank you. Right now, time to see what's clicking in Cleveland. And for that, we say hello to our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Hi, Steph. I know that you're going to take us back a little bit to the pre-picture, the pre-loss pictures at the tailgating. I think we can use that to smile right now.
That's right. A trip back in time to happier times indeed. First, though, let's take a look forward because a holiday staple around here is coming back in just a few weeks. Something to get excited about. The Wild Winter Lights display will be back at the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo beginning November 16th. The zoo will transform into a winter wonderland with more than 1 million lights. And they're keeping the drive-through option, so you can ride through the displays if you want to stay warm over the next 5 months, or walk through them. The zoo recommends making a reservation online in advance, and we have the link to do that and all of the ticket pricing information on WKYC.com. Now, we are less than 2 weeks away from Halloween, and the decorations are out. Check out this very spooky home in Wellington that is clearly ready to celebrate. Look at those skeletons just climbing all over the place. It looks like they're dying to get in. I think I need a drum roll for my bad jokes. This particular display is on Cortlandt Street if you want to check it out for yourself. We want to thank Jamie Smith for sharing her decorations with our morning show team on Go this morning. All right, yes, let's take that trip back in time to a happier moment, the tailgating before the Browns game yesterday. Our cameras were out in the Muni lot where even the cold temperatures couldn't keep people away. And if you were out there, you know it was more than cold. We got hit with some rain too downtown. All pregame though, the weather after kickoff was great, of course. Unfortunately, the football wasn't, but Jay, Betsy, look at those people. They're so happy. A younger, more hopeful, younger crowd. But we get to do it again on Thursday, so that's going to be fun.
I just couldn't help but think about the extra, 3 hours of tailgating time they had. Usually those 4 o'clock games, you're just like, wow, there's a lot happening right now.
And when you give Browns fans the even longer runway for the 8 o'clock starts, for the Sunday and Monday starts, look out, because it gets really crazy. By the way, those weren't bad jokes.
Oh, thank you, Jay.
Those were dad jokes. See what I did there? Well, that was a bad joke.
We really need that drum roll.
But that house looks scary, too. I don't know that I'd be too fond of going inside that. All right, thank you very much, Steph. Well, you may remember back in February, we started a series called Reconnecting. That's when our Lindsey Buckingham worked with search angels to reunite folks with their long-lost loved ones. Now, we're going to do it again. Are you missing anyone from your life? Have you always wondered maybe where you came from, or longed to meet that birth parent that you never knew, or a sibling perhaps? We want to help you do that. Email reconnection@wkyc.com, and your story could be featured on 3 News. Those are always a tearjerker.
Well, friends, are you making your list and checking it twice? 'Tis the holiday shopping season after all, and we have important information about one major retailer's pre-holiday sales.
And for tech heads, Apple has released its list of new products. We know that some of these are going to be game changers. They're coming for the holidays. We're going to tell you what's the latest to fall off the Apple tree when What's New comes right back. All right, as we start our Money Monday story, I need to explain earlier in one of our teases, I called it Black Monday. Of course, the shopping holiday is Black Friday. Now, I wouldn't know that because I've never participated in that in my life.
Right.
Yeah. But this is information that everybody needs to know because this is going to be a little weird this holiday shopping season because of all the shortages and everything else. And Walmart is changing things up big time.
Yeah, if you see it, buy it. That's one thing to go into this with. But for a second year in a row, Walmart is spreading out the deals. It's bringing back its month-long Black Friday deals for days next month. There will be 3 events online and in stores. All 3 still start online and then continue in the stores. The first begins online on November 3rd at 7 p.m. when in stores on November 5th, just because they really want to mess with you. The first sale will have deals on toys and electronics. The second of these days will start November 10th and will have deals on apparel, home goods, and more. So much excitement. The last day, which doesn't have a date yet, will have, quote, the biggest, best savings of the season. Now, here's the thing that I get frustrated with when they announce these online, in-store.
Yeah.
I want one price wherever I go.
Yeah.
It's all the same company. I do this all the time with coupons. As you know, I do my coupons and my dealios. And I go in and I'm like, I have a 20% off. Oh, no, that's online only. Why would I order it online? I'm standing here in the store. Do you want to sell it to me now?
That's very frustrating. So I'm going to ask you some advice because my dear mother's redoing her kitchen, so she's going to be in the market for appliances.
Oh, boy.
So that would fall under the home goods, right? So that would be the second of those 3 days.
So Black Friday, usually like the appliance stores, they'll do appliances, but those are the ones that usually there's very limited quantity on.
Oh,
so you
yeah.
wanna do
Okay.
that.
Yeah, well, she's really looking for some deals on the appliances, so I'm going to help her out. So,
Right.
But I may lean on you for some help, too. If
Well,
you
it's
see of anything,
interesting.
you let me know.
We always, gravitate to the big box stores first.
We do. We
but
tend
keep
to.
in mind, there's a lot of mom and pop stores, and you have a lot more leverage. You also have a lot more support and follow-up with customer service with a local
That's so
mom and
true.
pop store than the big box.
And you get a good feeling helping them out, too. You really do. Okay, Apple fans, the company just revealed what's new in their fall lineup. We kind of previewed this for you last week, and it really wasn't much different from what we expected. The 3rd generation AirPods are going to go on sale October 26th. The price, $179. These updated pods have new design. You'll notice that those stems are a little bit shorter and a force sensor that gives more control of music and phone calls through that little stem. They also have a more powerful bass sound that you will notice right away. Crisp, clean, high frequencies as well. And this is key. They are water and sweat resistant. Also, the new 14-inch MacBook Pro, or MacBook rather, now starts at $1,099. The new laptops are supposed to operate much faster, and they have a magnetic connector, bringing back the beloved feature from older MacBooks. And I do remember those, and then they went away. Well, they're coming back. So there you have it. That's the latest and greatest from Apple. Nothing earth-shattering, I don't think,
You
really.
won't find earth-shattering sales from Apple.
No, never. Those prices are fixed. They are what they are.
Exactly.
But the new products, I guess, if you're a tech head and you got to have the latest, go rush out and get it. But I don't think anything that's going to change anyone's life, really.
Not yet.
Okay, coming up next on What's New, our Channel 3 family has just added another member. We're very excited about this. The news and the adorable pictures are next in Show Us Something Good.
Al, how are you? Good evening, I'm Russ Mitchell. We begin with news of a frantic effort to get a group of Ohio missionaries kidnapped in Haiti.
Check 1 2 3 4 5. Brandon's microphone once again from the basement, if that's okay.
Yes, this is me, Al. You got me? I got my mask on, so let me take that off there. Christian Aid Ministries, and those kidnapped include a 2-year-old.
Yeah, you'll be an anchor right.
Okay.
Right next to us.
Okay. And that'll
All right, Jay, today's show is something good comes from our morning show. One of our morning show directors, Brooke Rochong. Her daughter Ryan is almost 4 months old and is already calling the shots. Watch what she does when her dad Carl tries to get her up in the morning.
Ryan, wake up. Ryan, wake up. Ryan, wake up, kid. Don't you tell me no.
Girl, I feel you. Oh my goodness, she is already fighting getting up in the morning. Look at that little head. She's so silly. The best is she gets a little smile on her face too. She knows what she's doing.
See, now that's interesting to me because Ryan loves sleep, doesn't want to get up. My granddaughter, Hayes, is the other way around.
Doesn't want to go to sleep.
She's got an Energizer Bunny battery that doesn't stop, and she never wants to take a nap or go to bed.
Let's go to Grandpa's house.
We're out of time. We're back tomorrow at 5.
What Matters Most with Russ starts right now.
Now at 6, kidnapping crisis.
We're trying to help the people of Haiti because the help is needed.
The clock is ticking as a group of missionaries from Ohio remain held against their will in Haiti. Mark Namick explains what's being done to get them to safety. Remembering a patriot.
The world lost one of the greatest leaders that we have ever witnessed.
Colin Powell has died. The 4-star general and former Secretary of State passed away from complications of COVID. Brandon Simmons has local reaction. Turning it around, what the Browns are doing to get set for Thursday's game after yesterday's big loss. Jimmy Donovan will have that. And change in seasons.
We have plenty of salt. We're ready to go.
While ODOT prepares the fleet for the winter months ahead, some of the trees around Northeast Ohio are just starting to realize it's fall.
From the WKYC studios, this is What Matters Most.
Hey, good evening. I'm Russ Mitchell. We begin with news of a frantic effort to get a group of Ohio missionaries kidnapped in Haiti to safety tonight. The 12 adults and 5 children are there on a humanitarian mission and were abducted while visiting an orphanage east of Port-au-Prince. Mark Namick has the latest.
Christian Aid Ministries, which is based in Holmes County in the heart of Ohio's Amish country, has worked in Haiti for years. It distributes food and clothing and tries to spread its conservative Christian teachings. On Monday, the organization acknowledged in a statement the government's efforts to win its members' release, but offered no details about those missing. The group pulled its American workers out of Haiti last year over safety concerns, but returned recently despite warnings from the U.S. State Department to not travel there. People leaving the group's headquarters Monday avoided cameras. Tracy Herstich, an assistant professor of nursing at Walsh University, traveled to Haiti 10 times with Akron Children's Hospital to provide health care and with university students on education trips. She stopped going 2 years ago because of civil unrest.
What I have noticed, and in my Haitian colleagues that I still have communication with, is that the poverty is so dire, and just the infrastructure is so broken down that people are resorting to things like kidnapping. I think that most people who are traveling to Haiti want to go because, one, they want to help the people that they know there, and they believe, like myself, that it is a violation in human dignity to see a mass amount of people living in poverty. However, you have to balance that with what is going on down there. And
Ohio members of Congress say they're watching and praying, but do not have knowledge of the government's plans.
Know that some of our Franciscan missionaries from Ohio left several months ago, and the political situation was so fraught with danger. Even these were Roman Catholic sisters, withdrew. And so for those Christian missionaries who remained, I think the danger was known.
Christian Aid Ministries has said those kidnapped include a 2-year-old child, but the organization's not saying why it returned to Haiti despite the country's unrest and following the recent assassination of its president. It's believed a notorious gang is behind the kidnapping, but no one has publicly claimed responsibility.
Years of unrest, of course, in Haiti. Wish the best for those folks who were there.
A lot more to come on that story, Russ.
Okay, Mark, thank you very much.
This is a magnificent country. I am proud to be one of its sons.
General Colin Powell has died, the trailblazing former Secretary of State who served both Republican and Democratic administrations, passed away from complications of COVID-19. General Powell was an historic figure on many levels, and we have reaction from Washington and Northeast Ohio. NBC's Alice Barr begins our coverage.
I'm very pleased to be
a 4-star general, world-renowned statesman, and trailblazing advocate for human rights. Colin Powell has died at 84 from complications of COVID-19.
The world lost one of the greatest leaders that we have ever witnessed.
Powell's family writing he passed away at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center this morning, noting he was fully vaccinated. His battle with the blood cancer, multiple myeloma, made him vulnerable to severe COVID. His legacy of service made him an icon of both military and foreign policy, admired across the political spectrum. President Biden saying he, quote, embodied the highest ideals of both warrior and diplomat.
He was the best of us all, and he was the North Star for so many of us senior military.
Born in Harlem of Jamaican immigrant parents, Powell joined the Army and served 2 combat tours in Vietnam. He worked under 4 presidents in both parties, breaking barriers each time. As the nation's first Black National Security Advisor, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and Secretary of State.
He gave the State Department the very best of his leadership, his experience, his patriotism. He gave us his decency.
A longtime Republican, General Powell broke with his party to endorse Barack Obama for president and then Joe Biden, speaking out against former President Trump. Powell regretted making the case for the war in Iraq with information he believed was true, but that later proved false, calling it a blot on his record. A record of service, honored with lowered flags today as the nation bids goodbye to a military mentor and steadfast statesman. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And here in Northeast Ohio, those who knew and worked with General Powell are sharing their thoughts. Brandon Simmons has that part of the story.
Many words can be used to describe the late General Colin Powell, a man of intellect, a man of integrity, and some of our local congressional members, past and present, say he was in many ways a unifier.
He could think about what other people thought with respect, respond appropriately, and find common ground. That's what's missing in America today.
Former Congressman Dennis Eckhart met Powell in the 1980s and took note of his objective will to serve America and its people.
Colin Powell is the kind of person who read everything, left, center, right. It was driven by a philosophy that embraced love of America.
Coming together is what Powell was all about. He spoke about it in 2014, explaining that his foundation, America's Promise Alliance, modeled the work of the Cleveland Foundation.
It is just like the Cleveland Foundation in that it is an alliance of people coming together.
What made Powell special